All right, it's 12:03. I'm showing 45 degrees right now, which wouldn't surprise me. Some rain showers, some flooding. We've got that flood watch, flood warning, winter weather advisory, all of that shit, and it's all on aired out. We are watching very carefully what meteorologist Roger Hill is saying. So I think the bottom line is especially if you're going to be in the higher terrain, could get a little slick, especially tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, actually, really for the whole day, and just be aware of street flooding and rivers that are leaving their banks and ice jams and all that fun kind of stuff that we have to deal with here in Vermont over the next couple of days. Two handsome freaking guys that are right across from me right now. We have Justin Peliquin and Shane Gladding. You guys are right here from Central Vermont.
Yes.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yes.
Damn, it's awesome to have you in here. Absolute pleasure. We're going to get into it. Green Mountain Paranormal Investigations.
Yes.
What in the hell are you boys doing? You're rattling cages already.
Yeah.
So what's the story here? What happened? How did the two of you know each other?
So we were introduced at the same job. So we both work at L&D Safety Marking, which is right here in Barrie.
Yeah.
And we've known each other going on 4 years now anyway, and we've always talked about our interest in the paranormal and you name it. I mean,
that's cool.
And we have another guy. His name is Ian. He's down in Rutland right now, but he's kind of in GMPI with us.
Yeah.
So it's a really hard dynamic having, like we're trying to establish our group and, it's trying to, when you're in different areas.
Yeah.
So there's still.
So at some point, one of you, knowing that you guys are friends, you work together, one of you said to the other something.
Oh, Shane,
about ghosts or something.
This is definitely Shane's baby.
Yeah,
and a lot of credit goes to him for. I'm more of the grounded, logical side of it, and
understand.
So we have a good balance. There's just we're on different sides of the spectrum, and we meet in the middle.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
we need to bring every angle, excuse me, into these investigations. It's not just spiritual, it's environmental, it's mental health, it's everything that goes into these investigations. And it's not just entering into a building with equipment and running around and hearing a crack in the floor and saying it's a ghost or something.
Sure.
Everything, as far as the research goes into the property, into the people that live in these in these areas.
Yeah.
It's not all, finding ghosts. It's determining the source of
bigger picture.
Completely different dimension as far as people assume that you go in and you're watching these TV shows and they have the same equipment, they have the same technique, and it's we've had calls and stuff where we really have to sit and think about, like, we have to decipher the whole case, before we even think about getting into it, because we don't know if this person or these these people that are having issues, do they have a history of paranormal stuff in the past, or are they taking medication for certain things?
Sure. So you do a little vetting.
Yeah, there's I think our goal with this is to show the other side and to come in from a different angle and really give people the details. And we're not blowing smoke up anybody's butt about it. It's this stuff. It's we're starting out. We're not saying that we're the best of the best at anything. We want people to know that we're we want people to come to us with their issues, but we're not out for the money, for the money aspect of it, the fame or whatever. It's just the notoriety. It's about helping people with an issue. It doesn't matter if it's paranormal or something grounded.
We are in it to validate or invalidate any claims made in regards to the paranormal, and our objective is to do it honestly and openly and with respect to all involved.
Yeah.
So it's not just going in there and telling people what they want to hear.
What they want to hear, yeah.
People are getting.
There's
a lot
plenty of that on Netflix right now with all the paranormal shows.
And I've had this
my
conversation
God.
with other people too, where there's with social media, all these different fields. It's like a flooded market for everything,
right?
And this is no exception. And it's like we want to separate ourselves from
the other
the mainstream stuff that's coming out, and we've talked about. It's not just the ghost stuff. We want to dabble in contacting people who've had near-death experiences, just a variety of different things. And
have you noticed a pattern with these ghost shows that every account is attributed to something negative with the paranormal? And it's a tragedy, it's this, it's that, it's the other thing. That's not always accurate.
Great point.
Because some of us has, especially with the near-death experiences, all the stories that I've heard have always been positive. And, we've had positive experiences with the paranormal. So it's not all tragedy and horrific. And and
the market is like they're feeding off the fact that like we talked about going to these places and closing the gap and bringing closure to, let's say, some place like Emily's Bridge or these hot spots that we genuinely want to do. That was like a goal, is to as far as coming in at a different angle, we wanted to really close these things out, but we realized too that it's a business for some of these people approaching this field a certain way. Like they're treating, it's a tourist. It becomes a tourist spot for a lot of these haunted places, and the stories become exaggerated.
Sure.
We found, in our research, we found that because you've been to Green Mountain Cemetery, you've been to Emily's Bridge. There's a very thin line between urban legends and some of these supposed hauntings, and so people have to figure out is are they bringing something? If there is something there, are they bringing it there? Because without proper knowledge of the history of these places, people are calling out names of spirits that they don't know if they exist there or not. They assume from hearing stories from other people that there may be something there, but who's to say at Emily's Bridge it's even a spirit named Emily? There's nothing to suggest that that's Emily.
In our research, there is no Emily associated with that bridge. I'd hate to call it out like that, but it is what it is.
Bro, that's why you're here. That's why we have you on the show.
Yeah. So Emily's Bridge, in doing the research, how come, there was no documentation or anything on this incident that apparently happened?
Yeah.
And Emily doesn't even have a last name. So, it's, there could be something there, but it's definitely, in my opinion, not an Emily. It's whatever people are bringing into this location and opening doors that they don't quite understand.
That's it.
So
what's the story? What's the skinny on the story that you heard? There was some chick. Her name is Emily. She's all dressed up in the wedding dress. She's waiting for Joe Schmo, and he doesn't show up. She gets ticked off, hangs herself.
See, the problem is that there's various stories with different time periods. I think the story got exaggerated, but
I think so too.
And it plays into.
She should have just said, "To hell with him.
Yeah,
I'm out of here. I'm going to go find some other beau."
Yeah, and
come on.
Yeah, and I did read another story where there was an accident, and she was riding on a horse carriage.
I heard that one too.
Yeah, and and there was an accident and she died on the bridge.
Yeah.
So which story is accurate?
Sure.
It's
I think we're understanding too that we're gonna tick a lot of people off, a lot of other investigators about this stuff. But it's like this stuff needs to be challenged. Like,
There you go.
and not just
Of course, you're going to
not
tick
taking
off.
it for what it is.
You're going to. There's no way you can avoid not ticking off somebody or other paranormal folk or whatever. It's impossible. Impossible. Are you guys the only paranormal investigators in the state of Vermont?
No, we are not. There's a handful of investigators. Vermont, Green Mountain Paranormal Society, New England Paranormal Investigators. There's quite a few of them in the area and throughout New England, and we haven't really reached out to any of them because we want this to be our own thing.
Your own entity,
and we want to bring our own investigations and our own findings and our own authenticity into these investigations. And like you said, we are going to tick people off.
Oh, yeah.
And
sure,
we're not in it to impress or lie to people. This isn't a business to us. We're not out there making money. This is nonprofit. Our services are free, and our goal is to, like I said,
we want
validate.
to tell the story like front and center.
Yeah.
When these people, like I've had this conversation with Shane before. Like it's about the human story. Like the ghost stuff is cool.
Yeah.
But a lot of times we're getting, like when we get these calls. Yeah. It's, that's where the angle we want to take too is letting these people tell their stories.
Yeah.
And letting the audience, like whoever tunes into us, that like letting them figure out the details. It's like giving them the information.
Sure.
And letting them piece together. It's almost like reading a book, and letting their imagination in their knowledge kind of like feed.
Yeah, absolutely. We will never claim to know everything there is to know about the paranormal. So I think that, when we are doing these things and people with knowledge in other areas, they can definitely introduce that to us, and we're all in it to learn together. And, and when you're teaching people, you're teaching yourself.
Yep.
And, we offer a safe place for people to come and openly talk with us about these incidents.
Tell their story.
Occurrences. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, it's a judgment-free zone. We're just in it to try and help you figure out what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
One interesting thing that we found, too, was that, and I've had it with people that are close to me, too, is that when they tell the stories of their own personal experience with paranormal stuff, like a lot of times it is, a negative experience or like, they gave them the heebie-jeebies kind of thing. But you try, like me coming in on the logical side of things, I've tried to explain my way out of it to these various people. And every time, like they were disappointed that I was trying to debunk the situation. Like, even if I found a logical, scientific explanation for why these certain things happened to them, they would defend the negative. They would defend the negative experience they got from this supposed paranormal experience. And to me, that speaks like volumes for like the human experience and like it's like us watching horror movies.
We want inherently.
We want to be fearful.
We want to be fearful. We want to believe. That's just human nature. We want to believe. Whatever we get something in here, and we keep it in there, and we churn it. And if anybody comes in and may suggest that we might be slightly paddling against the stream, it throws them into a funk.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. And, then we're hated for telling the truth or for trying to debunk what's going on.
Right.
It's like you can't deny that there's a primitive, that primitive side to us that it's all survival. Like it's when people talk about Bigfoot and Earth, they feel, like some of the UFO abduction stories, or there's experiences where it's like stuff with sleep paralysis where they talked like they couldn't explain things, so they thought it was like they talked about demons like suppressing them or doing weird things. It's like all this stuff is there could be something to it, but there's also a primitive side to us that it's our primitive brain protecting us from things that we've dealt with in the past.
Absolutely.
And
and to go about this in a responsible way, you should familiarize yourself with all of the different theories and options.
Absolutely.
They're all out on the table in front of you.
That's right.
And objectively, you're drawing your own conclusions about what it is.
Because when you approach this stuff logically, that's when you find the real information.
Yeah.
Is because when you hit the skeptic a certain way and it opens their eyes and you're going like, no, there is something legit here that needs to be looked at.
Right.
I mean, that's so we're definitely gonna approach it
in a different way than
in a more scientific manner too with a lot of this stuff. But Shane has a background, like he's definitely in the more spiritual side of things, and
wow.
But also, I bring to the table a little bit of skepticism myself, because
that's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't go into these investigations believing everything that you're hearing or seeing. You have to do the research. You have to, in order to provide an honest investigation, you have to approach it with a logical, even, a little bit of skepticism.
Sure.
Because you're just going to turn into every other paranormal show out there.
Right.
And that's not what we want to do.
You guys, your Facebook page, which is at
it's pretty slamming, isn't it?
GMPIINC. Yeah, and we'll link it up right here. It's pretty new. I mean, it's just come out, about a month ago, right?
Yeah, about a month ago. We are just kind of getting on our feet with this.
We're not out to fudge anybody's interpretation of it. It's just like, it's very new. It's very like we're trying to establish like an outlet. Like this is really like the first like solid outlet that we've had to really
get ourselves out there. I established Green Mountain Paranormal Investigations back in November of just last year. So so this organization is definitely very new, but and that's okay because we are bringing a genuine perspective to this paranormal investigations world.
That's right.
And we're not like the major TV shows with all the fancy equipment. We are also approaching this in a traditional investigation standpoint, and we're going to utilize a lot of the traditional ways of investigating. Like you look at Ed and Lorraine Warren, when they were doing their investigations of, say, the Amityville horror house, like the
technology is it's more primitive. Like you think nowadays, because there are these different spirit boxes. There's different EMF detection systems. There's a whole slew of different things where it was simplified back then. It's like, and people were still picking up, experiences on recorders, and it's like, so why all of a sudden do we need this new brand of technology to like all of a sudden like we need this stuff to pick up what we were picking up before?
Of course,
it was just these are all questions that nobody's talking about it,
right?
And people don't understand, with the advancement of technology, it actually interferes with a lot of this equipment that people are using on paranormal investigations. Cell phones. We experimented with that just a little while ago.
At his apartment, it was like he's like, oh, I've never had an experience in here before, and we were like, we're freaking out. And then I found, like, after experimenting over and over, I was finding that it was like my phone, or we're picking up signals. And so you're like, you can imagine like being out here and we're getting signals from who knows where. So like when these people are doing investigations, this is stuff that it's so simple, but they're not touching on it. And So they really need to rule, like, we want people to respect us, so we're gonna just strip all this stuff down to
to kind of the nitty gritty, and we're gonna go back to the roots of paranormal investigations, and that's basic equipment, and equipment that in the past has been proven, and this stuff we don't know. I mean, it's great equipment, but there are so many factors, environmental factors, that can manipulate these readings. And so we just...
Yeah, there's a whole slew of different, like, tools that we want to experiment with that are outside of the realm of what people are messing around. Like, you're seeing, like I said before, the
ghost
REM,
shows,
like the REM pods, the spirit boxes, it's just the same.
Right.
Like we're getting into, like, we want to do, like, get more into, like, the the thermo night vision stuff. There's we're talking about using, like, Tesla coils to experiment, because there's a lot to do with this paranormal experience. It's to do with frequency and how we all know that we're like a living battery.
Yeah.
And a lot of these experiences people are having, it's because some of these environments, it's low frequency that's causing these disruptions. Or they're, like, when people say they have paranormal experiences, it could very well be that they're picking up on, there's some low frequency stuff that's going on. And you think about the human being as being, like, when we're functioning at our best, it's a high vibration. So this is a huge thing that I don't think a lot of paranormal investigators are, diving into, because a lot of this stuff would debunk half of the things that they're doing.
Sure.
If you found out that there was something feeding a low frequency into an environment where people are thinking that, there are things watching them, it's causing paranoia.
Something that's
this is real stuff. It's
that energy.
Infrasound. Some of this low frequency infrasound, it's causing disturbances. And in our digital world now, with having all these signals bouncing around, we don't know what we're picking up. And
what are you guys using for equipment? What do you have?
So I have a REM pod and also a millimeter, which they go into the electromagnetic field in which spirits are said to be made up of. Energy kind of never dies, and so when we pass from the physical to the spirit realm, there's still that energetic aspect to these spirits, and so that's what these pieces of equipment are kind of picking up on, or said to be.
Is that like a spirit box?
So a spirit box is different. So we also have an SB7 spirit box, which is basically just regular handheld radio that reverse sweeps radio frequencies, and so it creates kind of like a static white noise. And
it kind of sounds like you're shuffling through radio stations.
Yeah,
I've
I've heard it on some of the shows that we've seen on TV.
Yeah,
but honestly, some of these tools, like if you go on some of these paranormal sites, there's some of these that are a racket. Like, people are making makeshift.
Yeah.
So, like, we're gonna look into, like, creating some of our own, like, not like going to outlandish lengths to create some of this, but there's some really grounded. I mean, like, we could go into Nelson's Hardware and pick out some stuff that it's just very simple things that we can do to step the game up. But it's we don't need to go out and buy all this fancy.
No, these places are making bank off of this because of the crowd that the paranormal is now kind of bringing in. People are going onto these sites paying $200-$300 for a simple
social
EMF
media
detector.
is making it. That's what's. I mean, it's helping flood the market too, where you just have this. You build this, like, legion of fans. And you can feed them whatever information you want, and they're just going to eat it up. And they follow these groups around, doing these different paranormal events. And I mean, we've been there, we've done that, and we see the following. And I think they get blinded by some of the real facts, in learning about how to approach and to tackle some of the paranormal stuff. It becomes like a teeny bopper fest where it's like, that's what people jump on a bandwagon. They're like, oh, my group's going to defend me. And so it's like, we want to ground it a little bit.
And the sad thing is these groups that are hosting these events are making a lot of money off of these people. And I kind of feel bad about that because they're getting such a negative introduction to the paranormal world. And, and so these people are going to use this very little education and bring it out into their own communities and try to do their own investigations. And
you have to keep consideration the entertainment aspect of it.
Yeah, of course.
Or if you have, like, I was talking to him earlier about, like, when you have little kids coming in with their parents, it's like you don't want to kill it for it's like telling them about Santa Claus or something. It's like you want them to be like, oh yeah, I heard a ghost or I saw something. Like, so there's always that piece of that there that we're always gonna fight against as long as we're doing this. But we want people to be able to come to us and tell their story, and
we do our best to help them solve this issue and to close the door and to cleanse the space.
Right. And it may not even be an issue. It may not even be an issue. It may be just affirmation.
That they need validation that there's something going on.
There's something, and like you said earlier, it may not be a negative experience. It may be a positive experience.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's safe to say this day and age too is like people have lost their sense of spirituality in some cases, where I think or they're more open to the they're not necessarily atheists, but they want to be more open to everything. So they denounce certain spiritual aspects. So it makes them very vulnerable to other things, like other things coming in, other ideas. And that's what we're finding too, is like when somebody gets fed up with, just the way things are with this day and age with COVID, and there's people are kind of,
we're looking for something else.
They're going into themselves, and like it's very it's very lonely kind of place to be, and they're losing a little bit of their faith in some of this, and
absolutely.
So they start, like, we've experienced some of the calls we got. It was like they started dabbling in the Ouija boards, and other things.
We're spending a lot more time as a society disconnected from others.
Yes.
More and more and more time alone.
Yep.
And more hours and time spent at home alone. The TV's on. We're on our phones. We're on the internet. We're influenced by various media sources.
Absolutely.
Which are essentially, I mean, let's be honest here, kind of rewiring our brain. Our way of thinking. Is different now.
Yeah.
We've been influenced by many other sources that have come in.
Yeah.
You guys have been over to New York.
Yes.
Yep.
Tell me about that. Twice?
Yeah. I went to the Washington County Courthouse and jail in Salem, New York. And it was with the same group that he and I went with to Palmyra, New York. So it was, I'm pretty depressed with the way they were running things, but it was a business. They were running a business, and and I really didn't find a whole lot of evidence there. And that's another thing. When people are going in to do these investigations, a lot of times they won't really find anything because it doesn't happen on command. It doesn't always happen on command.
You're spending a certain amount to go to this place. Yeah. You're getting a hotel room sometimes. Sure. You, deep down, there's a part of you that's like, I spent a lot of freaking money to do this, so I'm like,
gotta find something.
I need something. I need something out of this.
Right.
So,
you could go to places that could have some spirit activity and not show it. And you could go to places that seem to have a whole ton of spirit activity, but they really don't.
No.
Yeah. And
reality is subjective.
Yeah. Yeah,
it was actually pretty hilarious, and
I was
in
gonna bring
in the
that
museum,
up.
It was like, because like I broke off from the group and went upstairs on my own with, just had my flashlight, and I can't remember if I had a REM pod with me, but I was kind of like tucked away in one of the rooms upstairs, and it was like 5 minutes after I went up, I heard they're like, guys, do you hear that? It's like, I think there's somebody upstairs, and I was like,
no, it was the flashlight. You ended up hitting the button on the flashlight.
I was like, and they were like, I swear I just saw a light up on the stairs, and so I'm in the corner up there, just listening to this, and they started playing off each other. So they come up the stairs, and like they're all like, this one person was like looking in different rooms. They're like, yeah, man, there's nothing up here.
So then I go up there, and
I'm like tucked.
The first room I go in, I spot him. Like,
and so it's like, that's the belief. Like, people are creating this. I could have at any time been like, guys, it was me.
Yeah.
I did not the whole time.
Interesting.
So how it played out the rest of the night, like we had like these different events they did where, they were talking to spirits, and then they would ask questions like, oh, were you the ghost that was upstairs, and like we're shining a light on the stairway and stuff, and then like somebody'd be like, yeah, they said yes, it is the ghost that like, so they were creating this whole thing from their own imagination.
Yeah. Imagination.
Yes.
Yeah. Imagination.
And so
we want to be scared.
Absolutely.
We want to believe.
And we spent close to an hour. Like, somebody heard somebody say no, and then the woman got up and said, "Yo," or so.
She's like, and this is funny because we were like, no, I could have sworn I heard no, but like I got up, and I was like, I couldn't remember if I said yo. This went on. I'm not even shitting you. This went on for
over an hour. Hell, I mean, people just wouldn't shut up about this, and then the whole issue with the
I was sending Shane like texts like, I just want to throw myself down the stairs right now. But
wow,
it was bad.
When you go there for the entertainment aspect, like there's I think there's some real stuff out there, but this is what we're talking about, like coming in from the logical side and then finding the real. Like I watched this flashlight, this event they did with the flashlight where they were talking to a spirit, and like the logical side of me, I was right there by the flashlight. I'm like, I'm gonna figure out why the hell this is going on and off, and like I was watching the person doing it to see if they're doing something with their hands, if it was like a remote control, and I could not figure out. Like they would talk to spirits and get the lights to turn on and off, and I could not find.
That was probably that
was the one thing that shook me out of this whole thing. I was just like, I could not figure. I picked up the flashlight. I was like, kind of pull it apart. I'm like, I don't know how they did that, but I imagine I can go on and Google it and see if there was a allusion to it. But
I love the fact that you guys are so level-headed and objective about your way of thinking behind this. Is really cool.
Well, it's just it's refreshing, I think.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's not going along with everybody else.
Yeah.
It's the human story behind this stuff, and the human story is far more fruitful than some of the paranormal stuff. So
and here's the thing, and we know this. There's a real history here in the Green Mountain State of some areas that are presumed to be haunted. Not only areas but specific buildings. You know, the Haskell Opera House up in I'm sure you've heard of.
Yep.
And there's different hotels and inns, and there's some that have. There's one up in the islands. I can't think of the name of it. That's got the original Underground Railroad that came in that they've turned into a bar down there.
I remember you mentioned that before.
Yeah, I think it was.
There's a laundry list.
Yeah.
There's books that have been written and places where you can go. Certain times of the year, and you'll see things or hear things or experiencing.
Well, there's an issue with that too. It's like the tourist traps that.
Oh yeah, well,
and like I said, if we honestly wanted to go to these places and either bring somebody with us to cleanse or to close some of this stuff down.
Yeah,
because there are far more, if people are going to focus on the tragedies and helping spirits get to there are worse tragedies that happened, like events that have happened in our local history, and that would deem more suitable for an investigation than some of these hot spots that people have hit for years, so.
Like one of our upcoming investigations that we're hoping to schedule here soon is there was the worst train accident in the history of Vermont, and that happened in West Hartford, and back in 1887, where a total of 37 people perished in this train accident. And we haven't heard of any other paranormal group going there to investigate or anything. So we want to go there, investigate, and see what's going on, see if we can connect with anything, but also to help move these spirits on.
Yeah.
We want to cleanse.
We're thinking if people are getting action at Emily's Bridge, it's like, why the hell aren't they getting some action here? This stuff does not make sense. So it's
I mean, I'm just doing a search right here for the Hubbardton battlefield, just outside of Castleton. I mean, that's like, you guys got to go there.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of places we have to hit that.
I mean, that's one in Bennington.
Yes, the Bennington Triangle is something that I'm also interested in checking out. Glastonbury Mountain, where numerous people have been said to vanish.
Yeah.
And
while you're down there,
absolutely. Oh, yeah.
Equinox Hotel.
Yeah.
Yep.
And hundreds of people have, investigated Wilson Castle, and that's a tourist spot. We don't really want to do crazy tourist spots because we want to touch on places that people don't really touch on.
We gotta branch out a little bit, and
have you guys thought about setting up a tent and staying on location somewhere through the night?
We definitely want to get more like doing live events where people are like involved in kind of what we're doing to like.
Sure.
I mean, if you look on our Facebook page and be like, what the hell are these guys doing? It's like this show is actually like the first outlet that we really have to it's like a jumping point for us that to show people like the direction we're going in.
And we want to show people the boring, what they would deem boring parts of an investigation, the research, the dead time. I mean, we want to show them this. It's not just, running around somewhere with equipment. There's so much more to it. And, we want to show cases that we don't find anything.
Transparency.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, I want to go to these locations and stay the entire night. And
if you got nothing, you got nothing.
We have nothing.
And that legitimizes everything.
That's right.
Yeah.
That you're doing.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Which is the way it should be.
We watch these ghost shows.
Sure.
And,
there isn't
but
there isn't a bad story on any of those ghost shows.
They always have something.
There's always some fluff there. Somebody has to fart or do something.
Something.
Yeah. They hear a creak in the floor and they're freaking out. And, did you hear that, Bob?
My wife watches these shows all the time, and I'm like, please just shut this crap off. Like, and she's like, oh, you're part of a group now. It's like, you should be into this. I'm like, no, this is like, it's not the angle I'm coming in at. I'm like, this is not.
No,
like, there's far better things to be investing our time in stories. Like I said, like we want to interview people that have had. I don't care if like they've had psychedelic experiences, near death experiences,
we want to hear
all of that, like I said, let people, just tell their story. That's and I think we're
so many people are afraid to because of
the stigma. There's a stigma attached. It's same thing with mental health, and they're afraid somebody's gonna call them crazy or
that's not our job. We are not mental health professionals.
But there's we've experienced too where there's a responsibility for us, just like doctors when you have an emergency. We've had some of these calls we got. It was like I told Shane, I'm like, this person needs to go see a priest, or like it's not, it's out of the realm of what we need. Like, and if we go into these environments where somebody is having a mental issue or they have a history, and it's like if we tell them like, oh yeah, there's some bad energy in here,
Sure,
that's going to cause
that's going to fuel
like
them.
Pandora's box.
Right.
That we don't want to feed somebody's. You know, if there's something else going on, and we like feed their imagination. I mean, it's more detrimental to
that's why
the situation, and we want to help people like get through the issue. You know, because it's just a stressful time to be living in, and we can see where paranoia plays into people's lives, and they're very isolated because of what's going on, and it's a dangerous. You know, like you said, people are disconnected. Like we're not communicating the way we used to, and
that's very true.
We're just, the more you go inside yourself, you like when we talk about people bringing stuff to Emily's Bridge or opening gates that like some of these people are creating it within themselves.
I know. I'll bet you $1 million that if you guys are a 2 or a 3 or a 4 on the skeptical scale, I'll bet you I'm a 10. I mean, I'm a huge skeptic. However, and I don't tell many people, but I had my own experience at Emily's Bridge, which, you know, I just don't tell people about it. I think I told you guys about it, but I don't really tell. I mean, Sherilyn knows, but other than that, you know, it was just funky, weird, unexplained, and I just don't even bother. I just keep it to myself. You know, because who the hell knows what it was, what happened? I don't know. I'm not going to honestly waste my time trying to figure it out. You know,
and you know that's kind of where we step in. We do everything that we can to help you figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know,
we went to Emily's Bridge, and we were looking. We actually have video that we didn't post it or anything, but we were like looking around for. People writing, like scribing, you know, just you figure if people were trying to open up gates, like we were looking at if there was any like any spiritual like hieroglyphics or something that we could. We're seeing stuff written on like trees and on the bridge. We want to make sure like nobody's like genuinely trying to create something there that isn't there.
Sure,
right. And
so these are all things that we take into consideration when we.
And I believe that people that are having experiences at this bridge, you know, I'm sure it can be environmentally explained for the most part, but people are having legit experiences, and, you know, I believe that this is brought in by people that are going there, opening these doors, and, you know, or whatever the hell they're bringing with them. You know, they're bringing crap there.
We can bring like we did that the last time. We brought some sage. The night we went, it was around like
2 o'clock in the morning, 19 degrees out.
Like we were
freezing.
I was talking to Shane. I was like, we should just go to these places and just cleanse all these places, and just mark them off on the calendar. Be like, yep, we just got this one, got this one.
And you see what
people are going there, keeping these
doors open.
They're keeping these gates open, just feeding the monster. So
that's the problem with these kind of tourist attractions. You know, we can cleanse and do everything that we can, and you know it's just going to be.
They're keeping the negative energy there.
They're the conduit to it.
Yeah.
Wow.
But there's things like we wanted to, some of the tools we wanted to get into infrasound and looking at low frequency. Like there could be something from the river causing the sound, low frequency from there. Like there's just there could be a reason why people are getting eerie feelings going there. There's a lot of cool little Easter eggs to kind of look into that people are touching on.
And if you Google Emily's Bridge, you're going to get 101 stories.
Oh yeah. People travel from all over the world.
Yeah.
And some of these places that weren't affiliated with ghosts before, because of the huge push in the media for entertainment value. Like now all of a sudden, you know, all these places are like. You know, if it's a history museum, and then it's like, oh yeah, we have ghosts too, and you know, they have history to pull from,
right?
So they're like, oh yeah, this it's this person because we have historical records.
Yeah, and then
it's very easy to embellish.
Yeah.
It's very
Oh,
easy.
yeah.
and then they open it up as a business and start charging people to come and investigate these areas. Like he and I, we had that experience and we had that conversation. It's like
it's like you can make money from the history alone. Like
look at Salem, Massachusetts. My God.
Yeah.
You can go in there around near Halloween. Good luck finding a parking spot. And if you buy anything, it's all the prices are jacked up.
Oh yeah, they're selling the shit out of it.
Oh, big time.
And
I've had, in part with my personal spiritual experiences, were all positive, and I've had this conversation with Shane before too. Is that because we were watching some near-death shows and this that, but I told him the information that was given to me in these spiritual experiences, it was something that I felt like didn't need to be shared with anybody. It was like a wink from the higher power. There was no specific name for this higher power. Like I'm a religious person. I'm considered Catholic, but I believe that there's a bigger field that touches everybody. And
I think many do.
This was the messages given to me, and like it was like puzzle pieces coming together, and it was just something telling me like this is the path you're supposed to take, and it was almost like telling you it's like you can make the right decision, or you can take the right path, or you can take this. Like it was like I said, a wink, like this is just for you. You don't have to share this with anybody,
right?
And I think that's when you have a real the good, genuine spiritual experience. Like I've had it with like my brother when he was younger said that my grandmother was a butterfly.
Yeah.
And told my mom that Grammy came and
reincarnation
sending this message to you, and so it was like when I was in high school, like this graduation, and the right before my row went to stand up, their butterfly landed on the person in front of me, and so there's like little things. There were like little messages that we all get them. Like,
of course,
we all get them.
So I, as a Wiccan, we believe that
he just busting that out. He's like,
yeah.
I was going to say something earlier. I was going to say something.
We have the Wiccan here.
I was going to say something, but I'm like, it's your territory. Okay.
So, we believe that everything is connected, and what we put out is what we receive. So, we totally believe in, occurrences like that, signs from the universe that your loved ones are still with you. And, I believe that those are gifts that are for you. And, and who the hell am I to say that you didn't have that experience or,
Right.
But in that, we're challenging all these supposed negative experiences that we see on TV. It's we have to really, as a society, or as like the spiritual society, everybody has to figure out, if you believe that people are stuck on this plane, it's like why are people like most of the near-death experiences, they're positive experiences where they're like shown this, they're drawn towards the light, and if they go there, they don't want to come back. Sometimes people, spirit guides or different entities tell them you need to go back, and they end up having to come back. But
every time that I've heard a near-death experience story, they didn't want to come back.
Yeah.
So why
people
is
are
that?
people are so convinced that this person's stuck in this plane because of you can see where if it was a tragedy, it was detrimental to the soul, so they're stuck here. But if they're given a choice, I have a hard time believing that a spirit would choose to stay in this plane when there's this,
there's this better dimension
place awaiting, and that's what the evidence suggests, is that there is this other plane that's,
and I think that we are keeping them trapped here. We're using these Ouija boards. We're having these, these haunted tours, these hot spots. We're keeping them stuck here. Yeah. And,
people have to be aware that are we feeding the fire for ourselves, or like, that's why we wanted to address and like try to cleanse places, because you know, like if you try to close a gate and somebody else is like, oh nope, there's something here, like it's
there's got to be a list that you boys are working on of spots that are your to-do list for the state of Vermont.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be areas where you guys are like, gotta go there. It's got to happen.
Yep.
We're going next month.
Yeah. So Emily's Bridge is definitely a place that we want to return to and do more investigation there. And also,
it sounds mundane, but we want to pick it apart, like to the point where, I mean, at first I kept telling Shane, I'm like, there's nothing there. It's bogus. But I've told him, like, you know what? No, we'll go back and we'll pick it apart and show everybody that, and even try to bring people in who have investigated before and see what they got and just compare and just just strip it all down so people, you know.
People get the real story. And also,
but Wilson's Castle was,
you know, it's on kind of our to-do list. And
Where's that?
That's in Proctor, Vermont. And you know, it's a famous attraction for the paranormal, and we want to go there and pick that apart, and you know, try and do what our objective is as well. You know, and you know, validate and invalidate, but also to cleanse and move on those that want to be moved on.
I think that's. Shane and I think agreed where we're like, we could make our mark trying to cleanse and close, you know, some of these places, and then if people want to exaggerate and continue the, you know, the mythos behind it, it's like that's fine, but it's I just feel like nobody has tried to do that yet in a responsible way where
it keeps the business open, it keeps the money flowing in, and you know, they're treating these spirits like they're damn zoo animals.
Yeah.
And you know, think about it, like, how would we feel if we were kept from wanting to move on, or you know, if I wanted to walk out this door and somebody kept closing it on me because they wanted to keep talking, that's gonna piss me off, and I'm gonna throw
it's not
something
good
off
for
the shelf.
it's not good for business.
You know
what I mean? That's where we're trying to go with it, is that, and people won't realize it till some of these investigators won't realize it till they see our podcast, and they'll be like, "Oh crap, we're doing that."
Well, speaking of podcasts, I mean, is there a paranormal podcast in the state of Vermont? That's question one. Question two is, when the hell are you guys going to start one?
Well, to be honest, we've never heard of any other paranormal group having a podcast in Vermont.
I haven't really looked into it myself, but
no, and you know,
we've talked about bringing. We want to bring groups in, and not like. We want to debate, and we want to, you know, like really bring out like the gritty questions, and you know, and we don't have the money to like invest thousands of dollars in some of this equipment. So if we could bring people in that have already done the work and like compare, like we want to do our own investigation, but we want to be able to compare their information,
see what they found, and then go to these locations and do our investigation.
Not harder kind of thing.
Yeah, we just got a comment here. An honest nonprofit. How refreshing. Good luck. Hope you guys get some donations to help with your venture.
Well, thank you very much for whoever sent that, and we're going to do our best to make a positive impact in this paranormal world. And and you know, my experience with the past two investigations with this this group that's been hosting it is there's no structure, there's no education, and there's no discipline in these investigations. And eventually what we want to do is we want to open up and invite people to come and investigate with us, but there's going to be a limited amount of people so that we can have more one-on-one time to educate and have them investigate with us. And then, you know, the last couple of hours on these investigations, have them go out and do it on their own and see what they experience. You know, on these past two investigations, you know, you're having 20 people in this investigation. How the hell are they getting anything out of it? And so we we want to really help these people get an authentic experience in the world of paranormal investigation.
And it just seems like your objective is really not to your purpose, your mission isn't necessarily to prove something to the naysayers.
No, it's like I said before, it's a
I like that.
it's a book. You give people the information and you let them kind of
they take and do what we want, do what they want with it. And, it's our job is to just bring it out in the open and do what we can.
And not sensationalize it.
Yes.
But we want to do our
here
own
it is. It is what it is. Take what you want from it. Call it bullshit if you want, but this is what it is.
Right.
And, if you have a different story, then try telling it. Yeah.
Wow.
But we're excited. Possibly, we talked about doing that before with when you mentioned it before about like a podcast, and so we're trying to find we want to go live, try to experiment. We just
have to.
This is all new ground, so we'll find our way. But
and I was gonna open this up to you, and on one of these investigations, I would like to invite you along, and so that maybe you can have a live feed in on these investigations.
I would love to. I'd love to.
Find a really good one though.
Yeah, well,
some like demonic.
Yeah, go to some
poltergeist stuff going on.
I just don't want to trip in the dark and fall on my ass. Live.
No, that's why we have waivers.
Oh, okay.
Just rip your pants.
Yep. So we have waivers. If you trip and fall, it's on you.
But you
can't sue us.
You got the night vision thing going? You got any of that?
No.
With our
so we
did
have
the GoFundMe page.
We did set up a GoFundMe page because we do need a little assistance in acquiring some of this equipment, but we're not going to go out there and buy everything on the damn shelf. We want to buy stuff that's going to help in our investigation to help prove what we want to prove or bring out in the open what we want to bring out in the open, and anybody that does donate, we're going to purchase what we need to purchase, and we're going to show you what we used your money on.
Yeah.
And we're going to
we want people to definitely feel like they're
involved in the investigation.
Just like when you do Kickstarter, it's like,
yeah,
I don't care if we need to send people a sweater or do something. But we want to show people that what they're really investing in, and it's like we're not. Like you said,
we're not taking the money and running. We want.
You're not trying to get rich off this.
No,
we're trying to find another avenue. Like I said, if we've had a show where we brought people on who have already done the work, it's like you don't need 1,000 people investigating the same. Like I would be more drawn to the bringing the people in that have done the work, and like it's a smarter way of working. And then
now we have Chad and Raylene who want to get involved and go along. So, jeez.
Wait, what's going on?
Well, we just have some folks that want to join in, want to help out.
Cool, awesome. And for those individuals, we will definitely show you what your donations have done, and you're going to be a part of the investigation. We're going to document the equipment and how we use it, so that you could see what your money went to. And it's important for us to gain an audience to show our
genuine. We're not out to
blow smoke up anybody's butt. We're out there doing what we can to bring these events to light.
Yeah.
And and we're not going to sensationalize anything. What you see is what you get.
When I went to Castleton, I probably shouldn't tell this. God damn it.
Well, you're on the spot now.
I'm trying to think of something else I can make up here to finish the sentence when I went to Castleton. But all right.
Are we making it up?
No. I wasn't going to tell you guys this, but I'll tell you. When I went to Castleton, we were out. I was out with some friends. We were cruising around one night, and we got on Route 30, coming out of like Lake Bombazine area.
Mm-hmm.
And we were headed north. And there's, and I don't know if you're familiar with the area, and I can't remember how far up, but I think it was right near the lake. Heading north on the right on Route 30, there was an old, dilapidated, I guess for lack of a better term, like an old mansion. This old house set back from the road. And a huge, I think I remember like a huge front porch and just a huge house, huge. And we were goofing around, and they dared me to run through the house. So they pulled up. I don't. There could have been some cash involved in this, or maybe some.
Yeah.
It could have been beer. I don't know, but for whatever dumbass reason, I jumped out of the car and I ran up the front yard of this place and got into the house and just started running through the house for like 5 terrifying minutes, tripping over shit and came out the back door of the place and came around the backyard and jumped back in the car. And anyway, this is a spot that you guys ought to go check out, man. I will not go with you. I will not go with you.
Yeah,
right, I'll go with you. I'll go with
Yeah.
you.
So
Especially if there's
with you
cash
just
and beer
saying that,
involved.
yeah, we're gonna have to bring you along.
$100.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid. What was I doing?
$100 will get you to go.
So yeah. So
I'll do it
No.
again as long as I've got an infrared camera going.
yeah, or we'll hand you a
Something.
spirit box and see if you can talk to anybody.
I don't
in
know
there.
why I did this. I
So-
don't. There's no sense.
So do you recall anything happening while you
No.
were in there, or you're just scared as hell? So any
Scared as
creak in
hell.
the floor, yeah.
I was alone. The buddies were waiting. They were pulled over on Route 30 in the car, waiting for me, laughing. And why?
Yeah.
I don't-
So why the hell didn't one of them go out there and
I
do
don't
it?
know. It's like I said. I think there was some cash involved.
Yeah.
And I don't
Well,
know.
here,
why.
double your money and you go in there.
Just
Spend 10 minutes.
stupid. Just stupid.
Yeah, no, we'll have to find out where that.
You guys got to
Is.
check this place out.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Where-
I
well-
know it's still there.
Okay.
So you said it's Route 30. Huh?
Route 30 north, right near Lake Bombazine, coming out of like Castleton area. Yeah. It's
Huh.
I don't know. We all do stupid ass things sometimes, right?
Oh yeah.
And I'm
Well,
no,
and, like,
no
and
different.
people don't think about it at the time, but anxiety and
No.
stuff plays a huge
Sure.
role in just how it's like we have these feelers,
Yeah.
and it's like when you're in that state, and we become addicted to it, and that's why we
Yeah.
watch the horror movies, blah blah. But you know, like we get amped up from our friends.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like you become like you're open to. That's why we have these experiences. so.
We as human beings, we want to be scared.
Oh,
we
yeah.
we
Oh, yeah.
want to be. We love that. We love that. I mean, I know of this underground bunker that goes back into the 1930s.
I believe there was, kind of the same situation in Ludlow, Vermont. I think there was
of a
an
bunker.
underground tunnel.
Oh,
So I want to do some more research on that.
uh-huh.
And like this place that you're talking about in on Route 30, like I want to know the location so I can find out maybe what was on the land prior to this building.
Oh, I don't want to know.
This is one thing we're doing is we're figuring out.
Please don't tell me.
This is what we're looking into Infrasound too for is because like when you think about the low frequency, there's things you have to look this up. It's like nobody talks about this ghost. There's ghost frequency, but these low frequencies that cause these paranormal, like, it causes issues with people. Like it's the disorientation, the paranoia. But we want to look to see if some of the environmental stuff is playing into in some,
Right.
And there's one column in specific that we got that like they talked about electrical entities that
Oh yeah. Yep.
and I was like, as soon as I heard it, I was like, this is some infrasound stuff that we need to look into.
Bennington and Hubbardton, I would love to go down with you guys down there.
Mm.
And while we're there, we'll stop off at the haunted house on Route 30. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's right in the area.
Yeah. And that's kind of the
staying
same
in the
direction
car.
as, Proctor. I mean, it's kind of all, somewhat close to each other. I mean, hell, we can hit all three. The Bennington Triangle is going to be more than a one-night investigation.
Yeah.
It's going to, probably have to go down there on a weekend. It's going to be a couple of days worth of investigation.
Yeah. Bringing night cams, and it'd be like
Night cameras.
it'd be like Blair Witch
tents.
Project with like snot coming out of our nose. Like, there's something out here, man. There's something out.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Bigfoot's after us. I don't know something.
You guys are off to something great. I mean, I know this is a hobby. This is a passion. This is something that you love.
But it's
For me, it was like it would just start off as like we're Ghostbusters. Like it was just it was that kid. It's like the kids are just into that stuff.
Yeah.
And it growing up with these ancient alien shows and all these different unsolved mysteries and different things. It's that's where it branched off for me. It's like
for me, I've always had an interest in the paranormal, even as a kid, and I'd watch these shows and get into it. But then there was a time where it came out that one of these shows they were actually fudging their evidence, and I was like, son of a bitch, and
you want to trust them,
sure. They ruin it for everybody.
Yeah, and so that's why I wanted to do my own thing and find what I can find, and so then that's why we organized GMPI. We want to find what we can find on our own. We don't want any shows or anything influencing us. We want to be our own influence, and so
we want people to trust us. Like that's just the ground.
Yeah,
it's building a relationship with people where they know that we're honest about it and that we're not going to judge you for. We want to.
We want to hear your story.
It may be a paranormal experience, but you also may have other life, like things just pop up in life where it's a struggle for people, and we want to be able to direct people in the right directions. And if we can't help them, then we'll know where to send them. To be like, if this, we've had that with some of the calls we received. I told Shane, I'm like, we can't go in there right now. It's like they need to do this and they need to do this before we consider.
Yeah,
but we can help them in a different way. That's what we're trying to do. So
we had a call, and there was this man that was saying that he was a Roman Catholic, and then he started dabbling in the Ouija board and this, that, and the other thing, and he named out a couple of demonic entities that you really kind of have to do your research on, and saying that.
As soon as Shane told me, I'm like, he was reaching a little bit with some of it because I was like, you have to. This has nothing to do with his faith. Like he was researching this stuff.
Yeah, so
we're constantly deciphering things like this, going like, oh, he mentioned this one. Is like, well,
this one isn't in the Bible. Like I've studied the Bible, and this particular entity is not in there. We're really
like investigating this stuff, and like before we even consider, like we want to help people. But I told Shane, I'm like, he said he was very strong with in his faith, or it sounded like that. So it's like you need to see.
Yeah, so
why didn't this person go to the church first
like
to address this? And so we're constantly micromanaging these little these events that we want to approach this responsibly, and so
and
we may not be making a lot of money doing this or any money, but it feels good at the end of the day when you're like. We directed them to the right place, and we bring put their mind at rest a little bit. Like we don't want to scare people into thinking that they're possessed or
nope. And I don't think he liked my response either. I told him to stop dabbling in that crap and get help. Like go back to your church and talk to the priest or stop bringing this crap on yourself. Like. You're opening doors that you don't quite understand, and you need to, if you're opening a door, you need to know how to close it.
Yeah.
And he wasn't doing that, and he brought this crap on.
Yeah. So I'd really like to ask people that are watching this to, like, if you're watching it, to, if you do dabble in this stuff and you think it's innocent, it's like it's it's, we're really, like, we want to close some of this, some of these gates, like, as much as we can. And it's I know it's fun to perpetuate to perpetuate these stories and these experiences, but it's only for yourself. It's not for spirits or.
No, and I've done that crap before. I've dabbled with Ouija boards and stuff like that. I'll tell you, it's stupid.
Yeah. Everybody's had it. They've heard stories about, somebody they had experience with a Ouija board and it just turned out bad, or and who knows if it could be connected. Just, it's your belief. We create our spirituality, and we can bring in positive energy, or we can bring in negative energy. We can expel positive energy, or we can expel negative energy. It's all in what you create inside yourself. So
and you want to play with an Ouija board, you're opening that door, and if things start happening, you know exactly why they're happening. It's because you opened a door that you don't understand what came through that door.
That's right.
So and if you're doing that, then stop.
Yeah.
Because you just don't know what the hell you're introducing into your life.
We've got your email linked up, GMPIINC. We have your phone number linked up in the comment section here too. On Facebook at GMPIINC is the tag. Green Mountain Paranormal Investigations. Justin Peliquin and Shane Gladding. You guys are doing great work already, and
thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah. Man, we wish you all the best, and I know you're going to stay in touch, and I can't wait to see what you guys are going to be doing.
Yeah, and who knows, maybe we'll have our own podcast at some point.
Would absolutely love that.
Yeah.
I think you need to, because there's a lot to be said here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah, we've got some good material to touch on. So.
And if anybody out there is having any experiences, or they need help, please reach out, and we'll do the best.
Yeah,
we
no
can.
messing around either.
Yeah,
we don't want any. we know. Like, I'm a jokester, so I'm like, there are gonna be some people that want to play, but if you want just
don't
if you're having
the
legit experiences,
right?
Yeah. We want to help if we can. So
yeah,
it's great stuff. Good luck to you, boys.
Thank you very much. Thank you.